I first met my guest today when we did an episode together on Inventing Anna. She is a deeply talented actress, very interested in gun safety, and I'm proud to call her my friend, Geraldine Leer. From a fierce Park Avenue magazine editor on the Netflix series Inventing Anna, to a powerhouse lawyer on the new reboot of Law and Order, to a loving mom in her recurring role as Karen Stone on Manifest. Geraldine Leer embodies rich and complex female characters with timeless appeal. Before we get started today, I wanted to share a clip from Law and Order with you, where Geraldine plays an attorney who is representing a father who allowed his son access to firearms.
Mr. Price is trying to criminalize parenting decisions he doesn't agree with. Guns are a part of the Richardsons' culture. That is how my client was raised, and that's how he chose to raise Bennett. My client may not be raising Bennett the way Mr. Price would like, but that doesn't mean it's abusive. Your husband never told Bennett to kill anyone, did he?
Of course not.
He didn't say, hey, take the gun to school and kill the principal, did he?
Never.
He was nowhere near the school when Mr. Gleason was killed.
Correct. He was at work.
Thank you.
Wow. Hi, Jeri.
Hi.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Traci.
I'm so happy that you could do this today. And we have some stuff to talk about. I really enjoyed, I think that's the wrong word, but that clip that I just showed of you on Law and Order. Yeah.
I was so disappointed initially that I had to defend the parent that was irresponsible letting their child have access to a gun.
Right.
And yet I found it in the moment very easy to play because I'm from Texas.
Me too.
And I get it. I get that there are going to be guns. Guns are a part of that family's culture. That's how the father was raised, and that's how he's going to raise his son. Period. Right. So I love the group Moms Demand Action because they are politically active, but they're mainly about having people buy guns in a responsible manner. And they're all about safe gun ownership. And they're protecting kids. And as a mom, and I'm not a grandmother, but I've played one on TV. I just feel so passionate about protecting children.
Mm-hmm.
And my children are 28 and 29. I worried about whether they meet a bully in this playground. I worried about, did they get good grades? Did they have somebody to sit next to at lunch? I didn't hold my breath hoping they got home.
Right.
I have grandnephews now, and I just don't understand what we're doing in this country.
I understand that.
Yeah.
My son is 18. I think yours are in their mid to late 20s. Mm-hmm. And I did go through that with him. I mean, they have drills all the time.
Yeah, and what 10 years makes.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And security guards. And of course, every time I get an email from the school saying, alert, we have had, and I'm like scrolling down to read that it was just a drill, but I mean, what a trauma to put these children through while they're trying to get their education, Right.
And, teenagers that are in a moment of weakness, where life just seems too tough. Mm-hmm. If their parent's gun is locked up and the ammunition is not in the gun, they don't have access to using a firearm to kill themselves.
Right.
Or somebody else.
Right.
And it's just so important. And it's something that nearly all of us agree on. I think
you're right about that. Even both of us being from Texas, it's interesting because Greg Abbott, I mean, don't get me started there, but the majority of responsible gun owners want safety.
Yes.
Emphasis on responsible.
Yeah.
Then there are those out there that buy guns in parking lots under the radar.
They are working. Moms Demand Action is working to help close those loopholes so that they can't be bought in a parking lot or online.
Right.
Crazy. And
more power to Shannon Watts. What a great lady for starting all of that. You mentioned this to me the other day. I had no idea about this group, and I just looked it up yesterday, and it's pretty brilliant. She has a lovely interview with Katie Couric on Katie's podcast. Yeah.
Full of great information. And you know what they say? If you want something done, ask a mother.
Yeah, that's for sure. Ask a busy mother. That's the best way to get something done is ask a busy mother.
Or a mad mother.
or a mad mother. Absolutely.
Yeah, I quit acting for 13 years and I came back and because of having been a mom, I was like, what do you mean I can't do this? Of course I can. What do you mean? Of course we're going to do this. We're going to do this. And
yeah.
Started. And now it's mothers and others. It's not just moms. There's students demand actions. Mayors are getting involved. Dads, friends.
Yeah.
Everybody that wants common sense gun ownership.
Absolutely. Look at the Sandy Hook Promise people. Look at, what David Hogg is doing. I mean, what a truly courageous young man he is, who, by the way, gets pummeled through the media and stopped on the streets of Washington by a handful of people I won't mention. How dare they do that to someone who survived a school gun shooting, school shooting. I can't even fathom it. So
that has a bright future. He just needs to, he's amazing.
And you also mentioned a group called, the objective here, my friend, is with Heal the Division, rather than me running around angry at the world, which I had been doing, I've talked about that a little bit. I thought I need to figure out how to heal some of these or mend some of these fences. And one of them is certainly gun safety.
Look, when you say gun control, it's a polarizing term.
True that.
Falls along a lot of party lines. But the one thing that we can all agree on is that children deserve to be safe.
Absolutely.
Who doesn't want that? And people think it's an other people problem until it happens to them.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
I think the statistic is that over 1,200 children a year in this country are killed with guns. It's the #1 cause of death for children.
For children in the United States.
Yeah.
I have friends in Europe who I talk to frequently, who I did theater with, et cetera, and they'll call me and we'll be talking. They're like, what is going on over there? It's with regard to mainly it's usually just after another school shooting where they are sent thoughts and prayers.
Right.
See, thoughts and prayers, Jeri, that's not going to get us there.
No.
What's going to get us there? What is your take?
Well, I think that it's nonsense that we're saying, oh, guns aren't the problem. Mental illness is the problem. Mental illness is a problem. Sure. But the United States has the same rate of mental illness per capita as every other high-income country in the world. But we have over 25 times the amount of gun violence in this country. Cars aren't the problem, but we have a host of laws and regulations that anyone, a stop sign isn't going to prevent all car accidents, but all
seatbelts don't either, but it all helps.
It's all good energy. The older I get, the more I think, oh, what does it matter if I throw away this one piece of recycling? It's energy to me. It's putting out a little bit of energy into the world that's positive, not negative. And Absolutely. So by getting involved in this organization, there's legislation right now in front of Congress. I forget what it's called. Go Safe. I believe it's the Go Safe Act, and it's to reinstate the assault weapons ban. I can call my representative right now and say, is he or she a co-sponsor of this act?
Well, that's a proactive thing for all of us to do.
And when I vote this year, are the candidates I'm looking at good gun sense candidates?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's crazy that we are all about being pro-life for embryos. And
you said that to me yesterday, and my head spun around. You're absolutely right.
We allow them to be hunted down in kindergarten. What? It's insane. And it's not that I'm anti-abortion. That's not what this conversation's about.
No.
But where is the logic in that? Why is it okay for a group of children to be hunted down in elementary school, or people at a rock concert, or people in their own homes when a drive-by shooting occurs? We need people who want guns to store them safely. And that doesn't mean like hiding Christmas gifts or birthday gifts.
Right.
Children are very curious. And one study has shown that if you give a child a, gun safety class for a week, they're just as likely to touch that gun and pick it up and look at it as the one that took the guns, that didn't have the gun safety program. They're curious. It's my responsibility as a gun owner. I don't own one, but if I was one, I'm an actor, and I understand people wanting to own guns. Putting it in a shoebox under some sweaters in the back of my closet,
not gonna fly.
I would put $20 on the fact that if you asked an 8-year-old, do your parents have guns? They'd say,
yeah. No, I totally agree.
That gun was because they're just curious.
To go back to, because what you said yesterday about what's happening now with regard to, and I forget which states, I'm sure I could name them after this, but when a frozen embryo is not allowed to be destroyed under penalty of law, okay, a frozen embryo, but it's perfectly thoughts and prayers for our kindergartners, our middle schoolers, our high schoolers who are sitting in classrooms getting an education. That's the part that makes me want to heal the divide. Right. That's what makes me crazy.
I think the problem is the gun lobby.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
A lot of politicians are beholden to them.
Isn't the NRA going not by the wayside, unfortunately not, but Wayne LaPierre, I think, was the head of the NRA, and he's not anymore due to some crazy shenanigans or something like that. I don't know enough about it, but so many of our politicians are beholden to the NRA and that ilk. Mm-hmm. Do these people have children, Jeri? I mean,
yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand it, but I can lie awake at night so angry about that, or I can get interested in organizations that are doing the work to change that, like Everytown for Gun Safety and Moms Demand Action. And I love Moms Demand Action advocates for a group called besmartforkids.org.
Yeah, you had mentioned that.
Yeah, it's such immediate good information to help parents keep their child safe. It gives you information on how to store your gun safely. A lot of police departments give out free gun locks.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they teach you how to secure guns at home, in your car,
To truly secure them, not in a shoebox under the bed, like a
or
Christmas
under
toy.
the seat of your car. That's
Right.
a secured gun. And a gun is stolen every 15 minutes from a car in this country.
No.
Yeah.
Oh
So
God. That's terrifying.
yeah, it's they they give parents a language. I remember my sister had older children, and she said to me, you need to ask parents when your toddlers are going, on play dates, if they have guns in their home. And I was mortified to
Right.
call and ask that. But besmartforkids.org gives parents a script, a casual script, or how to text and just say, just
By
like
the
you would,
way, yeah.
my kid has a cat allergy. Do you have cats?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Will your
Yeah.
gun be stored safely, the whole time Jack's at your house?
That's
Uh,
great. So they have like a way to approach that.
it's not that I'm anti-gun and I'm judging you. I just want to make sure your firearms are stored securely while my child's there.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a really good
Uh,
tool
other-
to have.
yeah, yeah, it's a wonderful resource for parents and educators, and I think it also covers suicide.
Hmm.
75% of people that attempt suicide won't attempt it a second time, but 90% of people who attempt suicide with a gun are successful.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it makes it a unique problem
Right. Yeah, it does.
that a gun is available when somebody is struggling. And a lot of people are struggling. Suicide rates are way up
Yeah.
after the pandemic. Um,
So how do we talk to the people who think we're trying to take their guns away, who are adamant about the fact that their Second Amendment rights are being trampled on, and we're just the bad people who are trying to come in and take their guns away?
that's why I love Moms Demand Action, because it's fine if you own a gun. Just be responsible. Just be responsible with it. Because I don't want your child getting hurt, or your neighbor's child. I don't want a mass shooting.
Right.
I just want everybody to be safe.
Right.
These resources are there, and more people are getting involved, and it's a wonderful thing.
I think it's wonderful too, and I applaud you. And I'm going to take your lead on this. I do worry about, and I've seen some videos. And both of us are from Texas. We both grew up in Texas, so we understand gun ownership. Although my parents didn't have guns in the house, but I would imagine my uncle probably did. But there are those who actually teach their children how to use guns,
Mhm.
and that's part of their culture. Not unlike your video from Law and Order.
Right. Right.
But listen, I grew up with neighbors who would take their kids out and shoot guns. I never wanted to be around them. My parents were never gun people. But so what happens there?
Well,
What are we teaching them how to do? Are they deer hunting? Are they learning how to protect themselves in case of a robbery? I mean, to what end?
I grew up going to sleepaway camp in Texas, and my favorite activity was riflery.
Oh,
I loved it. Target practice, loved it. Loved it. I was a very good shot. But half the lesson was in how to use the gun
safety.
and how to store the gun safely.
Right.
Same way we make people go through driver's ed.
Mm-hmm.
We don't just hand them a car. We don't keep a car with the keys in it, because we need to keep society safe. And I do know that some people teach their children how to use guns. I'm not here to judge that. I'm here to say, I remember I had a boyfriend who's they were big duck hunters, but he said, his father had the key to the guns. It was his gun, his brother's gun, the little brother's gun, but the dad was the only one who knew how to unlock the safe. And the dad handed out the ammunition.
Right.
and I'm not for duck hunting. That's not my thing, but there's just, I love, my friend marched in the 4th of July parade in her little town, wearing, the Moms Demand Action moms all marched together. And a woman came up to her and she was like, "You can't take away my Second Amendment rights. I am a responsible gun owner." And she said, "Good.
That's
I
what we're
agree with,
doing.
I don't want to take away your rights. I want
Right.
everybody to be safe." So that's how we can make a bridge
Heal the
between.
division, because there is such a division. And that's a great conversation that Moms Demand Action had with that very adamant person who was sure that what we want to do is take away your Second Amendment rights. That is not the case. So we
Yeah,
need to figure out how to have this conversation, and how to, you're leading the way, and how to make it easier for those of us who are not necessarily on different sides, but as you said earlier, all we want is the safety of our children, and frankly, all of us, right?
right,
Yeah.
right. I don't want to hesitate to go to a parade or go to a sporting event. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. There's enough reasons why we've all been kept home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to stay home. And I
I
don't
know.
get anxious when I'm out in the world, especially if I have a child with me.
I understand that. I took my son to he loves the Brooklyn Nets. If I got that wrong, he'll kill me. Yeah, it's the Brooklyn Nets. And I, I'm sure this happens to you too.
I already
Even
know
with
it's going to
all the security and all the stuff, I go to the theater because we're both actresses. I go to the theater and I'm like, did that guy make it through security, or did that woman, it's not something I want to be thinking about when I'm enjoying a basketball game with my son.
I don't want to be scanning,
No, I know.
scanning for danger. I don't want to do that. I don't want to wonder who's got a gun with them and
Right.
is looking for violence.
Right. There is a way, and you're giving us some great ideas. I
Hmm.
think that the besmartforkids.org is a lovely idea with regard to the scripts that one can have, very much like you said, hey, it's Jeri. Hey, it's Traci. Is Kiko going to be okay over there because he's allergic to cats? And I just wanted to make sure. That's very benign. And
Right.
as a conscientious gun owner, any other mom or parent should understand that and say, "Oh yes, we do have, but they are so locked up, it's not even funny. No, nobody knows, that sort of thing."
Right.
That's the conversation we'd like to be able to have,
Right.
instead of, "How dare you ask me that? You're taking away my Second Amendment rights."
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. You know, getting back to suicide for a moment, because that upsets me so badly. There was a survey conducted by the CDC that in 2023, 20% of high schoolers seriously considered suicide.
20%. That's
20%.
that's terrifying. Oh my
Yep.
God.
Yeah. It may have been fleeting. It may have been a serious.
Still a huge number for fleeting. My goodness. I had no
Don't
idea.
don't ruin that child's life by giving them a way to commit suicide.
With
Easy
a
access.
90% chance of success, as you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or ruin the lives of those around them.
Oh,
You know, I don't remember what the statistic is, but um, I think 15,000 kids are shot and wounded. That's not in the amount, the 1,200 that die, but 3 million children witness gun violence every year. How do you come back from that?
you don't. You don't.
Yeah. So,
I mean, we talked about the pointless exercise and futility with I kind of slipped through the cracks on that one, but with the bomb drills,
yeah.
you'll never forget that.
No, that was my main,
You'll, yeah.
diet dream. We would go out, had to go out in the hall and tuck our heads on, put them on our knees and wait for the drill to be over. I had anxiety dreams into adulthood
I'm
of
sure.
waiting to get home before the bomb hit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And I
slightly missed that. Yeah.
any kind of gun violence.
Right.
The fact, I do get very angry that people say that the solution is teachers being armed. Teachers,
Oh, please, please, Jeri.
they don't want to be trained in
Oh, how awful.
and how to protect their students. That's not what they're there for. It's crazy.
No. Well, it's absolutely irresponsible too, on so many levels. There are many people who don't. I've only handled guns when I've done television shows where I've had to handle guns, prop guns. Okay, and it makes me uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
But imagine a teacher who A, isn't getting paid enough as it is, B, his or her primary focus is the education of these students, and then, oh, by the way, you have to have a gun handy just in case. That to me is insane.
And for kids to have lockdown drills.
Oh, Kiko has them.
In addition to fire drills, or
Yeah. But I think we're moving in the right direction here. I do. I think that I was so happy when I love your work and I just adore you. And so when I was thinking, wow, she would be such a lovely person to talk to. And then you said that you were passionate about gun safety. And I think that's a wonderful place to put your energy. I really do.
It's a wonderful movement, and I
Yeah.
am humbled to be learning more and more about it. And
Well, I'm going to join you in that. With
great.
and I'm going to put the links for Moms Demand Action, Be Smart for Kids, Geraldine Leer, actress. I have a quick question for you.
Okay.
My co-host Leslie's not here.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't talk to you about this earlier. She has a thing where she does little tiny snippets of recipes at the end of our videos.
Ooh.
For example, Jason Stewart, who I had on last week, his recipe was always buy really good bread for sandwiches and put the mayonnaise on both sides. That was it. Do you have something to share with us? A little quick.
Limes, not lemons.
Limes, not lemons.
Yeah.
Why? I'm a lemon freak.
Well, it changes the rest. Well, being from Texas, I love Tex-Mex. I love South cuisine. I love cilantro, but I find when I use limes instead of lemons, the same recipe, it heightens it a little and it tastes a little different because I know lemon. We all know lemon. Right. But
limes instead of lemons.
Yeah.
So we'll take those limes and make limeade.
Hey, limeade.
I love it. Well, I have loved talking with you. Is there anything else you want to share?
No, I think we've done it. I think we've done it. We all want kids to be safe. We all want kids to be safe.
Would you consider chatting with me in the future on some other topic?
Absolutely. Anytime.
I would absolutely love that. I am going to now.
Thank you for all your work.
Oh, I was about to say my pleasure. Most of the time, being on the board of SAG-AFTRA is a pleasure. I've been on the board for 23 years now.
You're amazing. You're amazing.
Moments in my life where I'm like, oh, what am I doing? But I am so honored and proud to be a part of that. I give back to our union, as we're all fierce advocates of that, and I'm happy to do it. But my pleasure, my friend. And I think I'm going to go exchange those lemons for some limes.
Sounds good.